You're listening to the 49 Carats Podcast, a 49ers Goldmine production with Stephanie Sanchez.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the 49 Carats Podcast. I'm your host, Steph. It is Thursday, September 12th. The 49ers are gearing up to head to Minnesota. They head out there tomorrow on a short week, coming off a win in week one. And I have my Thursday co-host here, Monica, to talk about that week one game and what we're looking for in week two. Monica, how you doing?
Good morning. Yes, it is week 2. I love it. Thank you for having me on. I love being here with you and love talking about our boys.
Hey, shout out Jay in the live chat, man. It's a rare occurrence that I get my co-host, my bully ball co-host here, but always love when he's around. So Jay, shout out to you. Make sure you subscribe to him if you haven't yet. But Monica, we witnessed a awesome week one game. You were out at the game as well. We got to meet up. And I saw this on your Instagram that you posted afterwards. Let me just play it here for everyone to see.
There I
You
am.
seem to be having a great time over there.
Girl, you know it.
With the
You
cigar?
know it.
Like,
And
that's how you do? Okay.
that's how I do. And it was so funny because I'm the only one with the cigar. And I had all
That's
these guys walking by. They're like, cigar? They're like they didn't even dawn on them. I'm like, yeah, it's like, and then everybody wanted one. And I'll bring more next time.
What kind of cigars are we talking here?
So I personally, I mean, there's so many great ones, but I really love Cubans. So I'm all about like the Roma and Juliet, the Cohibas, the Monte Cristos, the Partagas.
Okay.
I mean, I could go on and on and on. And everyone was asking me which one that was. And actually, I forget the name of that one because I had to buy it because I forgot my stash from home. So, and it was pretty good. So I have to go back and check out that label.
No,
but here's the key. You've got to have it. It's got to be thick. It's got to be
No, I know.
thick.
That's what I was saying. I was like, that's a huge cigar. And I saw someone else in the comments say like, damn, like that's a big ass cigar. So we know how you do.
Go big or go home.
Yeah, exactly. We know how you do. So yeah, you were definitely feeling good after that game. So what did you kind of see? What were your like big takeaways from that one? Because I know you watched it live as well. What were the vibes like to you?
I mean, I thought the vibes were electric. You could definitely feel the excitement for a new season. I think everybody, a lot of people were like, calm down. It's just one win, just the first game. Well, what they don't understand, and I'll talk about it today, is this is game one after losing the Super Bowl. Right. That's the difference, right? So I think we just really shook off 2023, 2024 season with that game. My biggest takeaway, I think the first one that I was really excited about, I feel like we have the right DC in place. I feel like we have the right defensive coordinator with Nick. I never felt that with Steve Wilks. I just didn't. The last time I felt this excited about our defensive coordinator probably was Saleh and DeMeco Ryans. So to see the adjustments that I feel like their first quarter, the Jets came out, they did their thing, and we adjusted. And so I was really excited about that because I think our defense is going to obviously have to really, have some explosive defensive plays to get past Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. I'm already at the Super Bowl, Steph. I'm already preparing for the Super Bowl.
You think about the final boss wins already.
All yes, right. I am. But I think that was one of the biggest takeaways. And of course, I was on the show last Thursday, and I said, I'm hoping that Kyle really calls a game for the guys that were actually on the field during preseason. I hope, we see more targets for George. I hope we see more targets for Debo. And I think we saw that. But then Mason happened. What? We knew
That
he was
Jordan
good,
Mason.
but wow.
That Jordan Mason, he sure looks good. He runs like a tank, right? Like it's hard to bring him down. Like his legs are always moving. You could tell as the game just went on, uh, you see less and less of the Jets' will to bring him down. And that's going to be a weapon for the 49ers and maybe again in week 2 because it seems like Christian McCaffrey may or may not play. We'll get to that here in a bit. I also want to ask you, Monica, about Brandon Aiyuk, because when we did meet at halftime, it was shortly after Brandon Aiyuk dropped that one pass in the end zone that was right on the money from Brock Purdy. I think going into it, one of our, I guess, concerns going into week 1 and Brandon Aiyuk and even Trent Williams not having too much lead up time to prepare for this season. That was kind of our concern is what were they gonna look like? And I think for Brandon Aiyuk, unfortunately, he looked like kind of what I would have expected he'd look like without
Right.
getting in training camp and being around the team, right? So he didn't play all of the snaps in this game. I think that was kind of expected. We saw plenty of Chris Conley in there. Jawan Jennings was the leading receiver in this game. And so what did you think about Brandon Ayuk's performance in this game? What are you kind of hoping to see in week 2?
Well, I think it shows exactly why people need to go to training camp. I don't care how good you are. And I think, was it Peyton Manning that kind of said some things
Yeah.
about that? You know, I
Mm-hmm.
think I kind of am on the same train. Like, there's a reason there's training camp, and regardless of how good you are, what we're seeing is when you are not in training camp, it will affect the season. Nick Bosa, what happened when he wasn't in training camp? It affected his sacks by far. We're seeing the same thing with Brandon. We did not see I didn't see any misstep with Trent Williams, though, other than him
No.
having to run into the locker room to get more oxygen. I mean,
IB,
he
yeah.
was on fire. You couldn't even tell that he wasn't there. But for the most part, especially when you have as a wide receiver, you need two people to play that role, and that's a quarterback, right? And so if you don't have that time to have those throws in, those targets on the off season with your quarterback, I think we're gonna see what we saw. And I think he realized, okay, I might, because I'm sure these guys feel like, oh, I could do it, just throw me in there. And of
Going
course,
into it,
yes, you
yeah.
are gonna be, you are gonna be better than most wide receivers, the elite, wide receivers are, but it doesn't change the fact that, are you going left when you're supposed to go right? The speed is off. Brock's not used to throwing to you. He's used to throwing to Juwan now. Like, so there's a comfort level, I think, and a human nature of, if I see in one progression over here, Aiyuk, he's maybe not that open. I see Juwan, I'm automatically now going to go to Juwan because that's who I've been throwing to for 3 months.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like, I didn't even think about that aspect and why Jawan Jennings turned out to be the leading receiver. I did figure like that's part of it, right? Like, obviously, Brandon Ayuk was in and out of the lineup in this game, but it's also that comfort level that right now Brock has with Jennings, just because Brandon
Right.
Ayuk wasn't there at training camp. And I know Purdy and Aiyuk are trying to speed that process along. I know they stayed after some practices just to get that back because they did have great chemistry,
Right.
last season, right? So it shouldn't be too hard to get it back, but obviously it is going to be a process. Kyle Shanahan did talk about Brandon Aiyuk and his performance in week 1. And honestly, it seemed like Kyle Shanahan didn't think it was too bad. He said, quote, "I thought he did a good job. He never felt like he wasn't conditioned. We rotated him more than usual, which definitely helped. I'm sure he was sore and stuff from it. But no, the conditioning, everything was no factor." Now that's Kyle Shanahan, right? So from his point of view after the game, he didn't think there was any issues there. But yesterday, speaking with the media in the locker room, Brandon Aiyuk was then asked about how he felt the game went for him, and here's what he had to say.
I think after the game, I didn't watch the film until this morning. I was a little bit scared to watch it, but not as bad as I thought.
You were scared to watch it?
I was scared to watch
And
it.
what did it just not feel right at the
No.
time?
So kind of to your point, like, yes, you feel like you could do it going into the game, right? But afterwards, you kind of know right away, or these players know right away when it's not up to their standards, what they know they can do. And we've heard it before from Debo and Nick Bosa in previous years. And now it seems it's just week one, right? But now it seems like early on, Brandon Aiyuk may be dealing with the same thing. And this was our fear about this whole situation. This is why I give the 49ers so much flack for taking so long with these deals, because it doesn't just hurt the player. Like, if it hurts the player, it hurts the team, right? If you're not getting 100% from that player that season, if you're not getting the best version of that player that season, it does end up hurting the team. So that's what I hope the 49ers eventually realize and look to get these deals done a little bit quicker. But I digress. And yeah, I mean, I hope that in week 2, Brandon Aiyuk has a better performance, because obviously not up to par to his own standards in week 1.
Absolutely. And to piggyback on what you said, I was a little harsh on our boy Brandon, as 95% of, I think, our fan base at one point was just tired of the offseason antics. But I do have to say, like, the Niners, I don't know everything obviously that goes on the front office side, but you got to wonder, like, we've got to sign these guys earlier. And I know sometimes you can only control your part, but I think moving forward, I'm hoping that our boys, our Niners, Jed and company, really kind of take a look at their side as well and be like, okay, Brandon wasn't easy to deal with. I get that. But, like, we've got to find a better way to sign these players earlier. The money is not changing. So why are we not starting these conversations earlier to get it done earlier? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I'm all about solution.
And it did seem like they tried to get it done earlier. And again, I don't want to spend too much time on this topic, because we've talked about it like all off season.
Yeah, for sure.
But they tried to get it done earlier, but they were just a hair too late, because then all the other deals started to come in.
I
and
know.
That's when it was like all bets were off.
That's when it went spiral.
But they still had several months before the first week of September to get it done. And that is what bugs me. So yes, they did try, but then after that, like, they didn't speak for a long time, it seemed like, by many accounts. So something has to change in their process.
Just real quick, and then we'll move on, because I know we both had it with this. But what did just come out this week is that they were done. He was being traded to the Steelers.
Yeah.
And he walked in and wanted to talk to Kyle. And you heard that story. So he was literally about to be a Steeler had he not. And they gave him till the end of the day. Look, dude, we're over all of this. You either sign or you're going to be a Steeler. And he decided to sign. So moving on.
That was them putting their foot down, giving him an ultimatum. An ultimatum that could have been given to him way before that first week of September.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's just get this done.
Did you hear boos? Did you hear boos in your section?
There were groans and moans, when he had those drops. Even the first one, it was a little harder to see in person, but Sauce Gardner like kind of punched that one out or got the ball out.
Yeah.
And that's why it was incomplete more than anything. But yeah, definitely in the one in the end zone, there was a fan reaction, I think, throughout the stadium. And I think that it's not a surprise. Like, that's exactly what you would expect from fans who were already frustrated with the handling of the entire thing to begin with. So yeah. I hope to see a better performance from Brandon Aiyuk in week 2. I think we're all hoping to see that. And at this point, we're expecting it. So yeah, hopefully we get that, because the team will need him, especially because Jawan Jennings dealing with an ankle injury after week 1. So they might need to lean on Brandon Aiyuk a little bit more. But let's talk about the other injury that we're tracking here. It is Christian McCaffrey. And when he spoke with the media yesterday, he said, my mentality is I'm playing this week. I'm going to share this short clip here from what Christian McCaffrey had to say.
That's how I am every week. I'm not lying. I think as soon as a player says, maybe I'll play, maybe I won't, that's not a good mentality to go into a week with, when you're kind of on the fence. So for me, I'm ready to go.
Is artificial turf any issue with you?
Yeah, if you can't run on turf, you can't run on the field. If you can't run on grass, can't run on turf. If you can go, you can go. Did you get a chance?
All right, so Christian McCaffrey with the mindset that he's going to play, and I like this from Christian. I think it really embodies the type of player that he is, where it's like, even if I am hurt, I am mentally preparing to play, just in case anything happens. Because if he is able to play, and he hasn't been mentally ready or preparing himself throughout the week, it's probably going to impact your performance a little bit, or at least that's the way he sees it. So he's preparing as if he's going to play. Now, whether or not he does is still the question mark. Of course, dealing with the calf and Achilles tendonitis now complicates things a little bit. You mentioned them. They talked about turf, which is going to be in the Minnesota field over there, indoor field. So, yeah, I mean, this one's interesting. I don't think he's going to play, to be quite honest with you, Monica.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, I'm not feeling it. I'm like, and didn't he kind of say this week 1? And I believed it, and now I don't believe it. So, and I was just looking here. Who do we have week 3? We've got the Rams, right? I would prefer him to stay out another game and come back in SoFi and do what he does live and in person. For me, all selfishly motivated, clearly. But it's funny because as he was saying that, I'm thinking, you're not playing week 2. Probably not.
Yeah. And I think it is smart for the 49ers to exercise caution on this, of course, just with how important McCaffrey is. It's a marathon, not a sprint. We're barely in week 2 here. I think while it was surprising that he ended up being inactive for week 1, it was absolutely the right call. And I don't think we want to risk any further injury to McCaffrey, especially when you hear the word Achilles, you kind of flinch a little bit because you know what it could lead to. So definitely don't want to risk McCaffrey any more than is needed. And hey, when you have a guy like Jordan Mason who can put up some good yards on his own, I mean, I think that can make you a little more confident that you could rest Christian McCaffrey in a game like this one.
Absolutely.
All right, let's track some of the other injuries for the 49ers. So 2 guys who were inactive as well in week 1 yesterday also did not practice. Yesterday, Gross Matos and linebacker D. Winters. Gross Matos was one of the guys they brought in this offseason to bolster up that defensive line. But I must say, like, even without him, and I'm sure it'll look better with him there, but in week 1, like, the defensive line, I was pleased with. And I'm excited about the additions of Leonard Floyd, for example. He had the 1 sack against the Jets. And then also Malik Collins. He had the heads up play when Fred Warner made that fumble or the peanut punch. Malik Collins scooped it up. And then also he had some nice plays in the run game as well. So I like this defensive line. I do want Yetur Gross-Matos back. But again, I think I feel confident even with the group of guys they have right now. What do you think about the defensive line?
I agree. I was really happy with our defense as a whole. Of course, I would have liked to have seen more sacks on Aaron. But I mean, I think they did a great job. And like I said, I really feel good about our DC. And I feel like he's going to be able to change it up when need be. Well, I don't know that Steve was able to do that quickly. It's just my gut feeling is that you know what I'm saying? Like, he can feel the game and he's not afraid to make adjustments quickly. I feel like a lot of DCs, they like wait until halftime.
I've been saying that this week. Yes.
Right? Oh, I didn't know that. See, this is why you are my girl. A lot of DCs like, okay, we'll figure it out at halftime. No, bro. Let's figure it out halfway through the first quarter if we need to. Let's
Yeah.
figure it out. Like, because by the time you get to halftime, you might be down 21. Like,
Yep.
so,
Might be
and
too
just
late.
my gut feelings, I feel like he can feel the game, he can feel the players, he's on the field, and I feel like he's going to be able to really help us this year. It's just my gut feeling, and I can't even explain it. It's just I know it's only game one, but I really like the hire from day one. So yeah, I'm excited. And I agree with you. I think that our D line is just going to continue to get better. I really like the addition of Floyd. Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm already in January, Steph. I'm already in January. I'm not trying to jinx it, but I'm just saying.
I always say it's fine for the fans to look ahead because we're not the ones playing. It doesn't matter if we get distracted, right? But as
Right.
long as these players are taking it week by week, that's
I
okay by
know.
me. But yes, I was with you on the adjustment thing. I thought it was a first test for Nick Sorensen to see how he was going to adjust to the Garrett Wilson getting targeted like on almost every pass early on in the game. He passed with flying colors, and it happened before halftime. That was always my gripe with guys like Saleh. Even D'Amico Ryans kind of did that at times too, waited until halftime. A lot of defensive coordinators do that. I think it's just kind of normal around the league. But if there's a small tweak you can make in the game before halftime, I say do it, and it definitely seemed like Nick Sorensen did. So that I definitely appreciate. And yeah, another thing I wanted to point out, like Aaron Rodgers was getting the ball out super quick, so it did kind of limit the impact of what the defensive line was able to do. You see, they were able to get to the backfield really quickly on a number of plays, but by then the ball was out. I believe Aaron Rodgers' time to throw was 2.47, the third fastest after week one. And just for the sake of looking, because I was just curious where Sam Darnold ranked in week one, 2.91. I don't think that's going to fly against the 49ers. So let me just say that. And that's kind of
What was
been,
Brock? Do we know what Brock was? I'm curious.
we sure do. Brock was 2.74. And
Because
I
wasn't
thought
he
that was
last year? Wasn't last year he was like pretty quick on? Wasn't he like 2.2, 2.3? Like I remember it being
2.88. Wait. Yeah, he was 2.88 last season, which was kind of like middle of the pack.
middle of the road, right?
Yeah.
Anything around 2.1, 2.3 is like phenomenal. Am I wrong on that?
No, it's really fast and it makes things very difficult for defenses, of course. So Sam Darnold, better speed up that internal clock, buddy. But yeah, let's continue looking at the practice report from yesterday for the 49ers. Aaron Banks, he left the game early for the 49ers. That was one thing watching it live I didn't notice. Like watching it
Me
at the
neither.
game, I didn't even know that
Nope.
Banks left and that Spencer Burford went in until I saw people talking about Burford and how great he looked at left guard. So that could be a good thing for the 49ers that, hey, next man up is Spencer Burford, and he might be more comfortable at the left spot than at right. So we'll see what the future holds for Aaron Banks. He was limited yesterday. We'll see if he's able to suit up. But even if he doesn't, I think I would feel okay with Spencer Burford based on what we saw. He'd be next to Trent Williams. So I'm
Right.
good with that. Then we got Talanoa Hufanga limited. Kyle Shanahan said he has a chance to play. I don't know how much of that I believe at this point. I think I would continue to take it slow with Hufanga. There's no reason to rush him back, in my opinion. But wait and see on him. Juwan Jennings was limited with the ankle injury. And as we mentioned, Christian McCaffrey with the calf and Achilles also limited. And, me and Monica aren't really expecting him to play. Oh, man. Just a little sidebar segue here, not to derail us too much, but this comment has me cracking up because Jut Hunt says Shannon Sharp's IG live was a little sus. Anyone catch that? Yes, almost like all of Twitter, I think, caught that. Did you see that, Monica?
Girl, I saw it and I was like, what?
This man is grunting.
Now, you all know, it's one of those things where you start forwarding it to your friends to make sure that they've seen it, right?
course.
So the question I have for whoever's listening and yourself, do you think that was on purpose due to the rumors of him? But Steph, to go live, you have to push more than one button.
So what
It's
were the
not like a
rumors? I'm
butt
not
dial.
familiar. That's true. What are the rumors? I'm not familiar.
Okay, so the rumors are in this day and age, do we care that he's gay?
Okay, there were
And
gay
they've
rumors.
been
I
ramping up the
wasn't
last
unaware.
few weeks. So
You know,
the
me
other
and you
rumor,
don't care.
no, I don't care. We don't care. So, but the other rumor now is that was kind of done on purpose to negate the rumors. Now, he
It's one way to
said
do
he
it.
threw his cell phone on the bed and then, whatever. So, but I'm looking at this and I'm like, well, I'm a Scorpio and I analyze everything. And I'm like, okay, you have to push more than one button, Steph, to go live. Am I crazy?
I don't
And
go live
then
very often on Instagram, if at all, so I don't really
I don't know.
know. But yes,
I
usually you
don't
do
know.
have to. Now, not to get into the weeds of this topic, but do you recall Draymond Green, a certain Snapchat photo or video that he posted, quote unquote, accidentally, kind of along those same lines? How do you do it accidentally? Because we know on Snapchat as well, like you literally have to tee up the picture first of all, like upload it, and then you'd have to hit the send. I don't know. I feel like yes, there are many buttons, and then also him and Ocho Cinco went live later that night to talk about it, and one of the most viewed videos, as you can imagine. So maybe it was just a little publicity stunt of some sort, but that is wild. Fake,
It
like
was
whether
wild.
it was intentional or not, that is so
Well,
wild.
then I'm like, okay, but look at the video. It's got like a logo placed perfectly. And you told me you just threw it on the bed and then, and then I'm like, okay, well, if you're having, adult things happen on the bed, I mean, that phone never moved. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I will
yeah.
analyze it all day long, Steph. You know what I mean?
And Invader
Woo.
49er wants nothing to do with this topic. I that's okay.
Sorry,
We're
we took
off
a
it.
left.
We're
But
we're
it is
off it. Yeah.
trending. In our defense,
We
it is very much trending.
it was trending. We got asked about it here in the chat, so just had to
Yeah.
do a little segue. Okay, we're back on the road. We're back on the road.
Okay.
All right. So getting back to this game, 49ers Vikings. Now, George Kittle has a chance at NFL history. He needs 6 catches against Minnesota on Sunday to pass Rob Gronkowski for the 5th most receptions by a tight end in his first 100 career games in NFL history. Sunday will be George Kittle's 100th game. And so with 6 catches, he has a chance to make this happen. Pretty exciting for him. Now, do you think that he gets these 6 catches, or do we think it's going to be like that one? What was it, like his rookie year, right? He had a chance at that one record, and it was like Kyle Shanahan completely
yeah.
forgot about it. Like he was so close. He literally just needed one more catch to get it done. So I had people responding to this tweet that I posted, and they're like, "Yeah, we know what's gonna happen. Kyle's gonna get him 5 catches and like in the first half, and then forget about him in the second half."
Sadly, I don't see it. When was the last time he got 6 catches?
Fair question.
And I
I'd have
don't
to.
like it's
I
I don't
have to look
remember him
back.
having 6 catches in a very long time. And maybe I'm wrong.
You know what's really funny about George Kittle and just his stat lines in general is that he really does not need a lot of catches to put on a crazy performance. Like games where he goes off, absolutely
Right.
off. He has 2 touchdowns. He like most of those he has less than 6
Right.
catches.
That's what I'm
If I
saying.
recall. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a fair point. Let me just look back at the last time he had 6 catches. It was against Baltimore in week 16. He had 7 catches in that one, 126 yards. In the playoffs, didn't have
And
any
that was last year,
catches. So
right?
week 16. Yeah, week 16, 2023.
Yeah.
7 catches.
They would have to really, I mean, the way I see, you'd have to target him 6 times each half.
6 times
I'm
each.
if
Oh,
I'm Kyle,
target him. Yeah.
give
Sure.
him 12 to 15 targets and then we're good. But like none of the 6 for 6 because things are going to happen. You know, if I'm Kyle, you know, you want to take care of your boys. So I would like to see, you know, 6, 7 targets per half and give him a chance for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely in the realm of possibility, but there's definitely gonna need to be some finagling on Kyle Shanahan's
Yeah.
part to make it work, which I don't think he's willing to do that. And go off of the game plan
He
in
never
order to
does.
do that.
Yeah,
He doesn't,
very
which
rare.
that's fine. Like you're
Right.
not gonna lose a game or risk losing a game just to get someone a record. Like that's not what you play the game
Right.
for. But yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens with Kittle. But if you're making any bets, I'd probably bet the under on 6 catches for
Yeah.
George Kittle, even with this one looming for him. All right.
Yep.
We've got a quick halftime break here. Make sure that you guys download the Locker app if you haven't yet. The link to download it is in the description of this video. For the audio listeners, it's going to be in the description of this podcast. Search the name 49K to join the 49K League. And then also, the cool thing that Locker is doing just in week 2, this week only, you have a chance at $5,000, the prize pool. You can enter for free. So who doesn't want a chance at $5,000 if you don't have to pay anything to get that chance? Make sure you join the 5K prize pool league. In fact, I have it pulled up here. The 5K league is called 5K Week 2 Showdown. So make sure that you guys join that one. And if you guys are joining Locker for the first time, use the promo code WIN and you'll receive a first deposit match up to $100. Who doesn't love free money? So, I mean, I'm hooking you guys up here with some opportunity to make some real bread. So make sure you download the Locker app today. Week 2 starts tonight with the Bills and Dolphins. That should be a pretty exciting game on that end. But let's get to our favorite segment here, Trash Talk Thursday. We talked about some things in week 1, Monica, last week, and it was very quiet, right? Like week 1, nobody really knows what to expect from their team. So no one's people are a little more shy to do the trash talking, and it certainly was that way with the Jets last week, except for this fan who, going into it, had to say this.
I'm going to tell you why. They're going to beat the brakes off the Niners. Our defense is elite. Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, they're going to shut down.
Shut down who?
Debo Samuel will get shut down.
What about the other guy?
Aiyuk is going to do his thing. You know Aiyuk always does.
Kittle's going to do his thing.
Against Quincy Williams and CJ Mosley? Yeah, okay.
Nah, Kittle going to get his.
Yeah, okay.
Kittle going to get his.
They're the best coverage linebacker doing in the NFL.
George Kittle.
Kittle's one of the best tight ends.
He was one of the most efficient tight ends in a long time last season.
Quincy was locking.
He led all tight ends in yards and didn't have 90 targets.
Quincy could lock a lot of people. Maybe Kittle. Maybe Kittle.
All right. So obviously that was a cold take from week 1 for the Jets fans. They slammed back down to reality after week 1. Let's see what. Yeah. What?
By the way, don't forget, I was close to our prediction.
You were. Okay. We'll get to score predictions here in a bit because I had a terrible one, as you guys probably know. And yes, Monica had a way better one than I did. But just really quickly, let's just see what Vikings fans are saying about this matchup. I went over to Vikings Reddit. All right. Go at your own risk. But This is what they had to say. One user said, Flores gave Purdy one of the worst performances last year. There still isn't a ton of tape on what O'Connell is trying to do on offense, and it's a home game. I won't be betting any money on this game, but I don't think it's as lopsided as people think. Another user said, and you guys nervous? We going to blow the 49ers out. Our Emperor knows that defense. And by Emperor, they're talking about Sam freaking Darnold. Sam Darnold, the Emperor. That's a new one.
Emperor? Oh my good lord.
They got bigger problems if they're calling him the Emperor.
Oh.
JV Swap says the Vikings can beat the 49ers. Another user says Darnold revenge game. Another user says CMC sits out this game because he knows Darnold is about to dunk on them and he doesn't want that pressure on his shoulders. Are the Vikings fans delusional? Yes or yes?
Yes. Yes.
Are they okay?
Yes. Wow.
blame
I mean,
them.
but you know what? If I was a Viking fan, I'd probably be, saying all those things too, because you got to have hope. Every game you got to have hope. But I will give it to I actually, so I'm getting ready to talk. I'm a little late because I was traveling, as you know, in Santa Clara, but I will say this. I was surprised by Sam Darnold's performance last week. I mean, at one point he was 12 for 12, over 200 yards. I was like, I did not see that coming. So hats off to him. But you're going to play the Niners. Like this is a different ball game. You know what I mean? So we'll see. I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. Obviously, he was a backup for us last year, but I just don't think, I would take the Niners all day long. I think the spread is -6. I think they'll win by 12 or more. Yeah.
Now, does it concern you that the 49ers have a very long history of not winning in Minnesota? I did a show with Rob yesterday and looked at it. The last time the 49ers won in Minnesota was in 1992.
Was it that long?
It was that long. Ampli had 2
it's
touchdowns.
true though. That's a good reminder because it's one of those that now that you brought that to my attention, we do lose to them a lot. How does that happen?
I don't know. It happened as soon as last season when
You know why?
we all kind of went into the
because of my boy. See, Prince used to be a part owner of the Vikings, just so you know, because he's from Minnesota. So
he loves purple.
I'm gonna blame it on Prince and see if we can change the juju around here.
So make sure you don't light that one on Sunday, that Prince candle.
Yes. Well, I won't light that one. No.
But yes, as we know,
the fact that you're calling Sam though the Emperor, I'm not gonna get past that. That's gonna come up all through the season. I promise you.
I mean, I didn't, but yeah, we got to poke fun at Vikings fans for calling him the Emperor. That is some wild stuff. I get there. The Vikings, are there emperors in Vikings like thing? That leads the question, like, why do the Raiders call it the Empire when they're like pirates? But anyway, I digress. That we're getting into. Don't want to take another left turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so obviously, as you said, I think there's reason for Vikings fans to feel some confidence, right? Like they beat the Giants 28-6. It was a good first game for them. Again, like you didn't know what Sam Darnold was going to look like, or they didn't know what he was going to look like for them. They didn't know really what Aaron Jones was going to look like. Sam Darnold, of course, 208 yards, 2 touchdowns, also an interception. Aaron Jones, 94 yards and a touchdown. And Justin Jefferson is back and healthy. He had a touchdown. So I get it. But I think we also get that the Giants are not the 49ers. So, and that's really all it comes down to at this point. But I don't want a repeat of what happened last year. We were also going into that game really confident. They didn't even have Justin Jefferson in that one, and yet the 49ers in a weird way like just lost that one. And I think we all remember the Addison play before halftime had a lot to do with it, in my opinion. But yeah, hopefully the 49ers do get this one done. All right. What is your score prediction then for this one?
Oh, see, I didn't even think about it. See, I didn't think about it last week. And
wait. Let's revisit. Okay, just because we did say we'd revisit week 1. My score prediction was 10-7. Womp womp womp, like terrible. Monica, you said 27-21. All right. So 27-21, that was definitely closer than mine.
Yeah.
What say you for week 2?
I'm feeling a higher score game, and I'm feeling a higher I feel like we're going to win by, honestly, I just said
You said
12
12.
points. Now I'm thinking 14-ish. Even though you just told me all those stats about us going into Minnesota, I'm going to go with 34-17.
34-17.
I don't know
And
why.
of course, you have the.
I mean, I know
that's
why.
Big.
I think we're going to have a breakout game. I think Aiyuk's going to want to have a breakout game. And I just don't know if their defense is going to be able to stop all of our boys. Jawan, Kittle, Debo, Brandon. And then when we need Jawan, and then we've got still, don't forget Kyle, So I don't know. We'll see. I'm going big, girl. I'm going big.
Yeah, you sure are. 34-17.
What do you
the
think?
49ers just came off scoring 32 points against the Jets defense, and that
They were
was
the
with
the best
49ers not even looking that good.
And they were supposed to be the top 3 defenses on most people's
one of the
card.
top, yeah. Yep.
So that's why I'm giving us an extra 3 points against the Vikings as a visitor.
Okay.
What's yours, Steph? I see you
Here's-
looking. I see you that twirling.
The wheels are turning up here. Here's my thought process. I think I do have to acknowledge there's some strange things that happen when the 49ers play in Minnesota for whatever reason. And then I do also have to acknowledge this, that the 49ers have struggled against Brian Flores' defenses in the past. Last season against this defense, Brock Purdy was 21 for 30, which is not bad. 272 yards, still not bad. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, though. So, it wasn't his best game. And so I have to take that into account. Last season, the 49ers lost 17-22. And so I'm going to say at this time, I do think the 49ers win. All right. I always have to go for the win. Yeah. I'm going to say 23-13. That's what I'll go with.
Okay.
Right.
I like it. We're on record.
Better than last week.
Okay. We're on record.
All right. There we go. And then, if you guys have some predictions in the comments, put them down. But are you worried at all about the Brian Flores defense and what he was able to do against Brock Purdy last season? The Vikings defense, by the way, might be. I only say might because, again, last week was Giants, but they might be better than last year.
To be honest, I haven't been paying a ton of attention, to be honest, on the Vikings defense. I've been more worried about some of the other defenses. My main concern was the Jets. And to me, that was just like the most. That's why I think we were so excited about that win, is because we played one of the best defenses out the gate. So to answer your question, I haven't heard a ton about the Vikings defense. I haven't watched a ton of games. I'm going to go with the fact that I know Brian Flores is a great coach. He's going to have them ready. He's going to have them psyched. You've got that revenge in them from Sam Darnold. I get all of it, but I would like to see us lift the monkey off our back, go in there and start putting the NFL on notice that we are here. We mean business, and we're going to stand on business, and we need to blow the Vikings out the water.
Stand on business. I like it. Monica, did you happen to see the passing chart, like Aaron Rodgers' passing chart from week 1?
You know what? I think I looked at it briefly this morning. What are we talking here?
All right, so I'm gonna put it up on the screen. I literally just put this slide together to share it. So check this out. All right.
Okay.
Mooney Ward Island looks like it's a thing because if you're looking at this chart here, and for the audio listeners, I'll try to describe it. Pretty much all of Aaron Rodgers' targets and completions happened on the left side of the field, and they're all pretty like short, like intermediate stuff. Nothing to the right. That is definitely an indication of Mooney Ward having a great game in week 1, as he has had in the past. This question from Invader 49er: will the 49ers mirror Justin Jefferson with Mooney Ward? I have to imagine, like, I mean, it might have been a thought, or it might be a thought going through the 49ers' minds right now because of how well he played.
I mean, absolutely. What do they say? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So I if it is broke though, you got to fix it too. So, I think that absolutely is going to be something that they look at.
Yeah, for sure. I
really like that graph. I'm curious to see Brock's graph as well.
Well, let's see.
I don't know if you could do that, but we could even off when we jump off. I'm gonna look at.
It's on Next Gen Stats. I mean, I'll just put it up here. Can you see it?
See, that's exactly what I was
Brock
thinking.
Purdy, and again for the audio listeners, Brock Purdy's targets are across
all
the
over the board.
Yeah, even, as almost, it should be. Yeah,
almost dead even from left to right. And if you watch Brock, his progressions, I mean, you can see him looking 1, 2, 1, 2. So I love seeing that right there. That is good news to me.
Yeah, defenses have to respect the entire field with this offense, with Brock Purdy willing to throw anywhere. I didn't know this. So Vikings are ranked 30th in special teams. Is that just based on week 1 TB, or is that from last season? Interesting nonetheless. I have to say this, like, special teams is weird right now because I think teams are still trying to figure out the new kick return thing. We're not seeing too many returns on those. And I think for good reason. So yeah, this year. So after week 1, they're 30th in DVOA on special teams. So that could be an area where the 49ers could make something happen if we get to see a return, because like I said, we're not seeing too many of those, but I would like to see it. I would like to see it. All right. Let's get to our $10 trivia here.
And Steph, before you go to your trivia, you just reminded me of something. Don't forget, we had 6 field goals against the Jets, right?
Yeah. How can I forget?
So we get one more touchdown. You know what I'm saying? Like we could have had even more points Monday night. So
yeah.
It just dawned on me. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot. Like that's the one thing we need to clean up, is being able to get that red zone, get those numbers up in the red zone.
Yeah. And that's why I was like, it's clear that the 49ers weren't the best at on offense in week 1. And yet they put up 32 points. Like that's
so sorry.
That says a lot about
I was thinking about the
team.
graph, and then I was thinking about the red zone, and my mind always goes.
No,
okay. Sorry. Trivia.
It's very much relevant to this week. All right, trivia for this week. Let me pull it up here. All right. This week's $10 trivia. Which player did the 49ers select in the 3rd round, 65th overall, of the 2005 NFL draft? First person who gets this one right in the live chat, will get $10. By the way, while you guys are answering this one, the person who won last week, I never heard back from them. So I would like to reward you, but I haven't seen him in the chat this week, so I don't know where he went, but if he ever shows up again, I would like to talk.
We got your money. Yeah.
Yeah, we got the money. All right, so yes. And do you have all right? No questions in the chat. You either answer or you don't. Is that an answer, Invader? No questions, just answers.
Man,
Do you have an
I can't
idea,
even remember.
Monica?
I was just thinking, I'm like, girl, I can't even remember what happened in 2015, let alone 2005. Like,
I also have terrible memory. All right, Invader is locking it in. He says Gore. Gore is the answer. It is Frank Gore.
nice.
2005.
Yay.
And the reason that I chose this one was obviously because Frank Gore was honored, this past weekend at the game. They had the halftime ceremony to, commemorate his addition to the 49ers Hall of Fame. It was a really cool moment. But all right, Invader, I know you're here all the time, so I know you're not going to disappear on me. But just either Venmo or Zelle, request $10. All right, and I will send that to you, sir. Or if you follow me on Twitter, you can also send me a DM, Steph49K on Twitter. Send me a DM, and we'll get it sorted. We got your money. So make sure you guys do that. $10 trivia here on Trash Talk Thursdays, every Thursday on this show. So congrats, Invader. All right. Well, really looking forward to this game this weekend. Hopefully the 49ers come away with a win. This is one of, I think, like 5 teams or something like. Okay, it can't be 5 teams, maybe 6 or 4 that are playing 2 1-0 teams that are playing head to head. So Vikings and 49ers, one of them has to lose, obviously. So hopefully it is the Vikings that lose this game. And we got a fellow Viking in the chat last minute. All right. Look, if you guys haven't yet, make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Have notifications on too, so you always know when I go live. Audio listeners, leave a rating, leave a review. But for now, folks, have a good rest of your Thursday. I'll be on live later on YouTube with Mariah the Two Goat Show. For now, peace, everyone. Bye.
Peace. Thank you.